You know him as DJ Derrick, and I'll just call him the best DJ in the land. He certainly is the official DJ of the SEC, and he's one of the things that makes Razorback athletics really enjoyable. One of the things, and certainly you feel that anytime you go inside Bud Walton Arena, and he joins us here on halftime. You're on vacation too, DJ Derrick, aren't you? How's it going there?
It's nice. It's not as warm as you would want it to be in Florida, but it is what it is.
Yeah, nothing.
How are you guys?
I'm good. Nothing's as warm as we all want it to be right now either. It's like 55 degrees in South Carolina. So, but you're taking advantage of some well-deserved time off. I know March is a crazy month for you because, you know, you say at the tournament. You do tournaments in March, and I just don't know how you keep all the energy that you have going. You do the men's tournament, the women's tournament, and other things in March. So, what was March like for you?
Straight to gymnastics. Well, you just described it. It's nonstop. Once that train starts going, you're riding it until the end, until it's all said and done. It just takes a lot of coffee, and you just ride it.
I can answer your question a little bit here that you put, that you said you're not quite sure why it's gotten bigger and bigger. It's got to be one that you're really good at what you do. You keep people moving, and you have a lot of positive energy coming from you. Even if you're not talking, you can tell that you're someone who just fully enjoys what you do. You know, you've learned how to do this and master it. Do you feel like you've mastered your art of DJing?
You can never master it. There's always stuff to learn, and always, like, every time I go to different tournaments or you just around a different group, you're picking up something. So you can never just say you got it. And I'm always a student. Like, no matter where I go or whatever I feel about myself, as far as, like, you can't be that cocky where you just not taking in new stuff. And that's what I pride myself on. I'm always keeping my eyes open and my ears open to listen to other people and what they're into, to try to learn from them. And that way I can regurgitate that out to the crowd, if that makes any sense.
It does. It does. What is it that goes through your mind when you're mixing songs? Because, you know, it just seems like you get a flow. It might be subconscious or unconscious. I've even gone up to you before and said, I love how you mixed this song into that song. And you'll be like, I don't even remember mixing those songs.
Yeah.
No.
Everything, once it starts, for me to explain it is weird. And I've always been that way. When I get in the groove, my brain just does what it does. Like, when I listen to this, I'm looking up. If you ever watch me whenever I'm doing a game, I'm constantly looking at the computer, looking at the turntables, looking at the crowd. So I'm looking at people's faces, and I'm reading what kind of vibe are they getting if they're listening to me. You know, we're also in the cell phone age where half the crowd is like negative 45-degree angle in their phone. But the ones that are listening, you're seeing the vibe and you're seeing what's going on, and you're seeing how they're feeding into it. And once I see that, I can know, okay, this is the groove they're on. And then I'm listening to this, and then I'm thinking, what can bring this up to the next level, and then to the next level, and then to the next level. So it's just a constant, okay, this is the kind of vibe, this is the kind of mood, and then we keep riding it like that.
Yeah, that's taking it from being a DJ to being a performer when you read the crowd like that. And we brought you on here because you know, one, you're the best at what you do. SmackDown,
I appreciate that.
SmackDown, who is in studio there, is DJing the BB High School prom yesterday. So I just got to let him ask you some questions because I know he's been. I think you might have been more excited about DJ Derrick than Coach Muss.
No, I don't know about that. Hey, before we get into that, I was curious just from this standpoint too, because first off, you're awesome at what you do, and I've always enjoyed going to Razorback games and listening to you. What was the difference? What was the difference this year with the pandemic year, limited crowds? Was there a big difference with how, I guess, you performed versus normal years when you've got a sold-out Bud Walton Arena, sold-out Razorback Stadium? What was the difference it felt like this year compared to years past?
Oh, there's a huge difference. First off, you have half of the people. So you have half of the energy. You get a lot of leeway and passes when you got a crowd full of people. So no matter what you throw out, if it's a good song or a bad song. It's going to be somebody or a group in there that's going to like what you played. When you have half those people, they're going to let you know if you're sucking. So if you play something that doesn't get the crowd or whatever, you don't have that cushion, if that makes sense.
Right.
And with the amount of people that we had in there, you had way less students. So there's different vibes that you get from different age groups and different people that you have in there. When you have students, there's going to be just a huge energy just from the age and the type of music that they like. But then when you have people older, they're going to like what they like, but it's not the exact energy. So you have to find a way to mend both of those together. COVID, when you took out like half of the audience, not to mention, this is the most important thing that a lot of people don't realize. COVID has a social impact that people don't really pay attention to. Through this year, because people were so disconnected and not used to being in bars and parties and everything, people like me could notice people kind of lost the ability to easily let their hair down like they did before, if that makes any sense. Like being stuck in the house, not being around people, and, just the uptightness of everything that was going on. People were a lot more resilient, a lot more just locked in their seats, and they were liking everything, but not just let your hair down, jump up and down, scream and holler, do the things that you normally would do. So that makes a person like me makes your job a whole lot harder. Mm-hmm. So you have to really reach out there to get reactions that you used to just get from people being out amongst each other.
It's cool. It's kind of cool to hear from that point of view of it. And I was really curious just kind of how you went about performing. I guess it is a performance. I mean, you're performing for the crowd. I mean, you went from performing from 18,000 to 6,000. I mean, in some cases. So
right.
It's really interesting to kind of see with that. So you heard Phil mention, and I know me and you exchanged a few tweets this morning, and hopefully we'll probably be doing some more because I'm DJing a high school prom this Saturday night at Beebe High School at my alma mater in Central Arkansas. Before we dive into that, have you ever DJ'd a high school prom?
Absolutely. Lots of them.
What tips do you have for me? Because I've done it one time, and it went really well the last time, and my reputation's on the line because I'm no longer work there anymore. So what kind of tips do you have for me?
Tips during COVID and today's society? Pray.
Exactly.
Because here's the thing. This is a TikTok society now with that group that you're going to go after. So every song that you like, because of the same thing I was talking about, people don't really gather in groups, and you don't have the songs that you had before where you could go to a party or you could go to clubs or whatever, and everybody learns the songs collectively. Now, the only place that people really collectively learn songs is TikTok or just social media. Mm-hmm. With that, when you play any of these songs, you're going to get about a 10-second burst of whatever little dance that they saw on TikTok, and then it's over.
Exactly.
So you could play probably 15 different songs that they're going to love, and you just play, 150 seconds worth of dancing. That's it. So
is there
you have my sympathy.
Yeah, right. I appreciate that. Is there like a database or like, okay, I'll just come out straight. Is there any way you could share some playlists with me? Because your playlist that you...
Oh, come on.
Well, so here's what I did. And tell me if this is a good idea. I've done this. This is my second time doing this for them, and this time I did it differently. I created a Spotify public playlist. That way the kids could submit the songs that they wanted to hear because I don't know what they want to listen to. So
I bet that playlist will be interesting.
It's extremely interesting. It has a lot of those little square E's next to it.
Yeah.
So
that's why I said
exactly. I'm looking forward to it, but it's going to be fun this weekend. I got to make sure I'm on top of my A game, like you said, because I know exactly what you're, because I've played music for different sporting events and different things like that at the high school level. Once you know you've got them in, the moment you got them in the palm of your hand. So I completely feel you on that.
Well, the thing, I could throw out a list just like you could give anybody a playlist, but you don't have that understanding. The reason I know playlists, because I know these words the words of these songs from front to back because of different places that I played it. So I know what parts not to play, what parts that really is going to get people going. So if you just play it, it's not going to be the same reaction as if you go to just that section and then make sure you turn it off before this section comes on.
That's true.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, yeah.
All right, so let me ask you this, but I'll throw it back over to Phil after this. If I, like, obviously you've done this for years, so I've looked at getting, are they called turntables? Is that the proper way to, is that, do what?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's a good one to start out with for a beginner like me?
Start out
turntable.
What did you start with? When you started DJing, did you have turntables?
No, I have no.
Is this all new?
All new.
All new? You don't do turntables. I started out with actual turntables. So the reason I like to stick with that is because I'm doing what I know.
Okay.
So a lot of people, when they're going to start DJing, they're thinking, okay, I saw this guy and he's great at whatever and he had this. And it's like, no, you don't need that. What you need is called a controller, because if you're starting out, you're teaching yourself what you're trying to do. So you could teach yourself as far as learning on whatever you decide to do.
Okay.
So there's no reason to pick the biggest and the hardest thing if you have you can get the same thing for something else. So a controller is everything compact. It has all the controls that you have from turntables with the jog wheels and everything. It's just not as big. And all your features are there. So I would look more into like the DDJ SZ or the SX or something like that.
Okay.
Like Pioneer, or just any of the controllers with 2 jog wheels. You get everything that you need. Turntables is really a preference if you learned on that and that's what you're comfortable with.
So, Derrick, the one thing that really impresses me is the energy that you have, because I guess I'll see you in about a month in Hoover at the SEC baseball tournament.
Mm-hmm.
We'll talk about long days. Now, I'll just call one day, one game, maybe 2 games a day there. He's DJing 4 freaking games. This is morning, noon, and night. And he's not sitting ever. I don't know how you do this.
It's nonstop.
How do you conserve the energy? How do you put in? These are like 12-hour days, man.
Well, you got to look at it like this. I'm a DJ, so I'm sitting up there doing my thing, playing music. But it's actual people out there that work, that have 12-hour days of work. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And you're talking about like manual labor work. So if they can do it, I'm pretty sure I can knock out 12 hours of DJing. Now, the one thing that gets me that is hard to explain to people, though, I would much rather do 12 hours of manual labor than do 12 hours of DJing at the tournament. And the reason I say that is a lot of people don't understand the mental strain that you have. I am more tired after doing a tournament, doing Bud Walton basketball games or any of that stuff than I would ever be like when I'm working on the house or working out in the yard or something like that. Yeah. Because your brain, you got to look at your brain like a computer processor. So the time that I'm in there, the entire time, nonstop, my brain is running 100% thinking about this is what's going on. How am I going to keep this energy? What if this happens? Okay, this may happen. This person may call this. Okay, if they do that, then we have to do this. And if we do that, this has to be prepared for this. That's nonstop all day. Yeah. So that's any sport that I'm doing, any tournament or whatever. So when you're running your brain that hard, it would be like taking the hardest test you ever taken all day long. You are worn out at the end of it. And to explain it to someone, I promise you they can't understand it. Like, you are completely drained when it's all said and done.
I've seen you at the end of those tournaments, and I can confirm the tiredness. Hey, we got to leave it there, Derrick. I appreciate you jumping on with us. It's really fun talking about this stuff with you. And thanks for your time. Safe travels back home.
Thanks, man.
Thank you guys for having me.